I'm Elliot Kleinberg, author of the Miami Police Detective series, The Adventures of Nate Moran. I'm in historic Cocoa Village at the headquarters of the Florida Historical Society with an old friend, Executive Director Ben Brotemarkle. Ben, let's talk for just a minute about, not just in South Florida, but across the state, Prohibition was really failed miserably. And how did that affect the history of Florida? And of course, in Florida, you had the tourist trade and people wanted their liquor.
Sure. It did have a big impact on Florida because we were, during the same time period, going through a big economic crisis. You know, the Depression really hit Florida years before it hit the rest of the country. So a lot
because of the real estate crash.
Exactly. There was the great land boom of the 20s, but after that there was a crash. But that led many poor Floridians to try to earn a living, make some money through moonshining. And so thousands of folks turned to moonshining. And it was interesting that a lot of the local authorities were not particularly interested in enforcing the Volstead Act, so it fell to the federal authorities
or the local authorities were
sure.
on the deal.
Sure.
The deal.
That too. But the federal authorities did rack up a lot of arrests by focusing on these smaller moonshiners. It didn't really do much to stem the manufacturer or
they weren't getting the
distribution.
big guys.
Exactly.
People forget that in the 20s, a lot of Florida was pretty rural.
Sure.
And there were a lot of places to do moonshining and smuggling.
Absolutely. Well, as you pointed out, a lot of the moonshining was done in North and Central Florida, but in South Florida in particular, there were the rum runners who would take their boats and go to Cuba and the Bahamas and other Caribbean islands and bring back rum and whiskey and other alcohol, and primarily for speakeasies and illegal bars, you know, but as you say, to serve tourists and locals. The result of this, the Volstead Act and Prohibition, was that it really turned a lot of mostly poor, everyday Floridians into criminals.
Yeah. And then the other irony, of course, is that finally Prohibition got lifted. So everybody in Florida you would think would be celebrating, but at the time Prohibition got lifted, Florida was deep in the Depression. So even if they could now get a drink, they couldn't afford it.
Right. That's true. The Prohibition didn't really work out for Florida, and as you say, once it was gone, there were still a lot of obstacles to overcome.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Elliot. Happy to be here.